Ace Combat 7. Let's talk about it. So, Ace Combat 7 is a flying arcade style game, so to say, that was released in January of 2019, and it follows the campaign, anyways. Follows the story of a man named Trigger as he flies for the Osean Empire, essentially. It's not an empire, it's a country. In their fight against the Usia nation and their technology and all that kind of stuff. So as you fly along as this pilot in the campaign, you uncover a lot of secrets about this foreign empire, and most of the time you're facing an incredibly massive force that's way above your numbers, really, let's say. Because essentially you're a bunch of rebel fighters against this overwhelming superpower that has way far advanced technology, has extremely advanced aircraft, as would be expected, has drones and pilotless aircraft and all kinds of stuff that's just so much stronger than any of the equipment that you have. Now, as you do go through the story, some of the things get leveled so that the playing field's more even. Some of it, you're just proven to be such a far superior pilot, and it really kind of seems like you're in like Top Gun or like some other story like that. And it is all set in a fictional universe, obviously, but it is still a lot of fun to play. It does involve a lot of aircraft that are known to our universe, and a lot of advanced foreign and completely fictional almost aircraft. The aircraft that you can play through the campaign with are pretty basic to start with. However, when you do complete the campaign, you can go back through and play the campaign again with all these other aircraft that you've unlocked, and honestly that makes the campaign replayable quite a bit because there are so many different aircraft in this game. There's like over 100 different aircraft you can use, and all of them have different weapons, different controls, flights, styles, all that kind of stuff. So all of the aircraft are massively different, and it would greatly change your campaign playthrough. Now obviously the story is not going to change, all that kind of stuff's not going to change, but the basics are going to change every time, in that your aircraft's different. You might have more missiles, you might have a different build on your aircraft, which makes it better for certain missions and worse for others, all that kind of stuff. So the campaign is definitely replayable, and as the campaign has a base time of 11 and a half hours for just a basic run through, and I think it's like 16 hours for objective completion. So it is a long campaign, and since it is definitely replayable, that adds a lot of value onto this game. Now when I picked this game up, I got it for $7, and I paid like $20 for a bunch of the extra expansion packs for all the extra campaign mode or maps and a bunch of extra aircraft, and that added several hours of extra gameplay onto it as well. So for like $27, it wasn't bad. Now I think the game's current value is around $20 to buy it on Xbox, and I think it's like $25 to buy it on Steam. Now both of them, I've seen them have deals on it recently, so you can pick it up for cheaper. But again, as this game was released in 2019, I do have to say the player base is not really there for the multiplayer. I love the multiplayer. I love playing against other pilots, doing all-out brawls where you have a battle royale or a team deathmatch, all that kind of stuff. The maps for it are great. They're right out of the campaign too, so that's pretty cool. The playability of the multiplayer is really smooth. You don't run into very many hackers or toxic players or anything like that. However, there's only normally, when I'm on there, like maybe 100 players online at a time. So finding a match is kind of difficult. So the multiplayer is a little disappointing in that aspect for it only being, 4 or 5 years old. But that's kind of what happens with games like these that get swept under the rug and are kind of considered less. Now, I've played a lot of different flying games, and most of them, the controls are terrible. Super difficult to control your aircraft, super difficult to perform aerial maneuvers, super difficult to use your aircraft at all as far as your different weapons and things. Too much detail put into controlling your flaps, your airlines, all that kind of stuff. Just way too much detail. But this game, however, is super simplistic to control. You don't have to be an aviation expert or a pilot to know how to fly your aircraft or to learn how. The controls are smooth, well put together. They definitely give you the capability to learn aerial maneuvers yourself through practice. Like, it doesn't tell you how to do them, but you can learn how to do them. And you can actually perform aerial maneuvers pretty efficiently. So if you're someone like me who's done a lot of research and studying into air combat, and especially aces and things like that from like World War II, and the aerial maneuvers that they would perform, it's pretty easy to pick up aerial maneuvers and then use them to your advantage against other players and be able to take them out. So I definitely think this game is worth playing. I think it's worth getting, no matter what the price range is on it, really, because it is just a lot of fun to play. Especially playing the campaign's a lot of fun. So even if you can't find a multiplayer match, the campaign's still really fun to play. I really do think, however, that the multiplayer is better than the campaign, just because there's a lot more enjoyment there. Not that the campaign is not fun, just that as a airplane slash jet, fighter jet enthusiast like myself, I think that actually doing combat against other people is a lot more enjoyable than fighting against AIs. But that's just my preference. So if I were you, I'd definitely give the game a check. It's not that expensive, it's not that old, doesn't have any crashes, and the game's pretty smooth overall.